Okay. So there are many operators which we normally do use in real time on daily basis, right? So let's have a look at the operators and the divisions which we have for different operators in C#.NET mainly, right? So we have arithmetic operators, right? We have unary operators, we have relational, right? So you have logical operators and your assignment operators, right? So main operators do we have, and then we have a few miscellaneous operators which are like control conditional operator which we gonna see, right? So now these are the operators which we have. So let's start with one by one here. So let's look at the arithmetic operator. So arithmetic operator, under arithmetic operator, it comes to plus, minus, asterisk, is multiply, divide by, and modulus. These are the arithmetic operators we have, right? So plus, minus, asterisk, which is a multiply, divide by, and modulus, right? So plus, we know this symbol is to add two numbers or concatenate two strings. So minus subtract is to subtract two numbers. Similarly, multiply the numbers and two or more. It can be two or more numbers, and divide and modulus. Modulus is getting the remainder of a division. Fine. So let's have a look with each example here. So let me create a new project for this. So let me call it as operators sample. Let me make it a startup project. So here I'm going to say console.readline. Perfect. So now first one, let me take two numbers. Int I is equal to 90. Let's say int j is equal to, let's say 10, for example. Right? So when I say int x is equal to I plus right, and print the value of x. Right? Now this will give us a sum of two numbers. So let me just run one, right? And let me show you. You can see it just gives 100, which is sum of two numbers. Similarly, you have minus, which will give you subtraction, multiplication, and then you have a division. Let's say if I divide this, right on it. So 90 divided by your 10 will give you. Let me increase the font here. But you can see it will give you 9. Now 9 is a result of your division, and we have something called percentile, which is your modulus. Modulus is nothing but your remainder you're actually getting out of your division. So anyways, now here you can see 90 divided by 10, you will get a remainder 0, right? Because 90 is completely divisible by 10, right? That's why you get 0. So let's say if I make it as 8, for example, 90 divided by 8, right? So there may be some remainder. You can see remainder is 2, right? In order to get the remainder, right, we will be using operator called percentile. This is our assignment operator we have. Sorry, arithmetic operators we have. Then we have something called unary. So unary operators are your plus plus and minus minus, right? So let's see what is plus plus minus. See, plus plus is called as an increment, right? And and this increment always works as increment by 1. Similarly, we have something called decrement by 1, right? So here in increment and decrement, yes, first, so let's go back and say, let me just say it's I plus plus, and I'm going to print I here, okay? So it will increment the value of I and it will assign. So when I run this program, I value will be 91, you can see. Similarly, when I do I minus minus, which means I'm incrementing and decrementing the self value, right? I minus minus is nothing but 890. Now, one more situation. For example, let's say if I'm assigning it to some value, let's say if it is I plus plus, then what is the value of I and what is the value of X? This is my requirement. Very important. See, when I say int X is equal to I plus plus, which means the meaning of this is anyways I have to do an increment of I, right? Now, when I assign this value to X, what will be the value? Now, when you are doing plus plus post your variable, this is called as your post increment. You have two different stuffs called post and pre. The post increment is nothing but I plus plus. It means when you're actually taking the value of I and you're doing the plus plus post it, then what will happen? First it will assign the value of I to X. What is the value of I? It's 90. So first it will be assigned. If you want, let me just increase the size of this, right? Your I plus plus I will be assigned, which means your X value will be, let me just put it as X here. Your X value will be the value of I, and then I value will be incremented. That's your post increment. So when I run my program, you can see here the value of I incremented to 91 and the value of X is still 90. That's your post increment. Assign for the value and then increment. Now, if you see the pre-increment, what is pre-increment? Pre-increment is nothing but your plus plus I, simple. Which means first increment the value of I and then assign. So when I run my program, you can see your X value and I value, both the values will be 91. And this 91 is, right, the pre-increment you are doing. Right? Similarly, you will have decrement. That's a pre-decrement when you run it. Right? Again, pre-decrement is your 89 is your I value and X value is again 89 because pre-decrement in the sense first decrement the value and then assign. Similarly, you have your post-decrement. Now you'll see when you say post, your X value will be the old value of I because first it will assign the value. That's why you can see X value is still 90, but I value definitely will get minus minus, which is, this is called as a post decrement. That is your increment operator called post increment, pre increment, post decrement, decrement. So this is important when it comes to assigning that value. But when you are applying your self increment or decrement to the variable, right? So that will not be affected either way. Either you do post or pre, it is going to get increment. So everything comes when you are going to assign the value. Fine. Now this is our increment or decrement. Now let's go to the next one called relational operator. Now relational operators we know equal to. Now when we say relational, which means we are going to check the relation between two different entities. It can be number or any entity as such. We have greater than equal to. You have less than, right? And your less than or equal to. So here when we are saying equal to, we also have something called not equal to. Now these are the relational operators we have, right? And we can actually, now these relational operators, whenever we check between two entities, right? Now this will give us the result of Boolean, right? So let's go back here, relation, let's see how it works. So here, let me just remove this all. So here, let's say I'm going to say console dot write line of, for example, I'll say within this I double equal to j, right? Now I double equal to j, I can actually mention within this, right? Or if you are actually writing any condition in if loop, right? You can also say, okay, if I is j, do so and so, if not, do so and so. But I'm writing this equal to directly in here so that I can get my Boolean value whether it is true or false. That's it. So I is equal to j is false. So when I run my program, you will see the result as false. Right? Similarly, when I say not equal to, run the program, right, you will be able to see true. Because I not equal to j means, yeah, I mean these two are not the same. Right? Similarly, for example, I'm taking I greater than. When I run it, it will give you true. So this is how we normally do check between two entities using this, which is equal to, not equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, less than. Right? So when we say greater than, equal to, then it is going to check within. Right? And if it is only greater than, then it should be at least greater than 1. Same funda as we have in arithmetics. Fine. This is your relational operator. The next one is your logical operator. So logical operators are your and or. And or. So normally called as logical and logical or. The convention we normally follow, right? Logical and logical or. Now, what is AND operator? Now, again, these operators are applied between two different conditions. Now, if you remember, relational operators are used to check condition. Let's say this is one condition. Okay, if I is greater than j. But your logical operators are applied within conditions. Right? Now, for within conditions, when we say, which means conditions can be of different result sets, right? It can be true. Few conditions can be true. I mean, few conditions may be false. So in these combinations, what is the real output we will be getting? So that's a logical operator we can use. So here, so I hope you all know the truth table. We're going to do that. Let's say we have a condition A and we have a condition B, right? And we'll see what is A and B. So A and B is nothing but your A logical AND of B, right? Now here, if A is true, so we would have learned in form of zeros and ones, if you remember. If A is 1 and B is 1, the output of A and B will be 1, because when you say and means I want both A and B, right? Both A and B should be 1, then only the power supply will start. Otherwise, any one of them is switched off, then it will not. Same funda here. If your A condition is true, right, and your B condition is true, then only your A and B will be true. Simple. Which is A, if you want A and in a sense both, or whatever you use. I'm just using only two. You can also use write a truth table for 3 different conditions. It's all of the permutation combination I'm making, right? So here, let's say your A is true, but B is false. Then your A and B will be false, right? Because one goes wrong, the complete logic goes wrong. So A is false again, where B is true. Then again your A and B will give you false. Similarly, A is false and B is also false. Anyways, this will give you. So in this situation of AND, you can see when both A and B conditions are true, then only it will be true. Otherwise, everything else will be false. Right? If you have 10 different conditions in between which you are checking AND operator, and among 10, one goes wrong, one condition is wrong. That's it. The complete return will be a false. Right? So now let's apply this stuff to example and see what happens. So here, let me take a boolean. Let me call it as result is equal to the first condition. Let me take it as I not equal to maybe 10, and let's say I is greater than j, kind of. Perfect. Now these are my two conditions I have. In between I'm using AND operator. So let's print the result. Right? Now here you can see that this is one condition, this is one more condition, and I'm applying AND operator. This is kind of a and this is kind of a B. Now here you can see what is A. A is I not equal to 10. Perfect. This is true. And I greater than j. Yes, I is greater than j here. This is also true, which means true and true will give you true. So the result will be true. So when you run this, sorry, it will be true. So now I can extend this. Let's say I'm gonna say and I less than 100 and I or j greater than 5. So every condition you can see is true. That's the reason why you'll get true. So let's say if I make one false, let's say I'm gonna say I is greater than 100. That's it. Among all four, one condition fails. See the end result. End result will fail. That's it. Right? Similarly, we have the next operator called OR operator. Right? So let me copy this truth table and let's see OR operator. So here I'm saying A or B. Right? So let me remove all these outputs. Combination you see. When I say OR, logical OR in the sense A or B. If either of them is true, the end result will be true. Simple. That's a catch here. Right? So now, when your A true, B true, then your A or B will be true. Similarly, your A is true and B is false. Right? Your A or will be true because one of them is true. Similarly, here B is true, and then if both are false, right, then there is no meaning. Right? So where it says okay, A or B, or anyone, it's false. So no condition is false, so it will, even the OR condition will return the false. Right? Now let's come back and see how OR works. So let's say I'm gonna take one more boolean called res1 is equal to, let's take I greater than 50. Right? Or is nothing but two pipe symbols. Right? Or I greater than j. Now as of now we are taking both true. So let me print res1. Let's run this. So you can see true is your output. Right? Now similarly, let's say 1 is false. Let's say I less than 50. Right? The one condition is false, but the other condition I greater than j is true. So return will be true. So take any number of conditions here again. Let's say I is greater than 500 or j is less than maybe 5 and all. So you can see among all these conditions only one condition is true, which is I greater than j. Everything else is false, right? So when you run this, right, you can see the end result is true, right? Only when, let's say, everything is false, let's say I'm gonna say I less than, which means each and every condition is false here. So when I run this program, you will see false. This is your logical operator and logical operator. Fine. So let's go to the next one, which is assignment operator. Now assignment operator we have is equal to, we know that more we don't know is plus is equal to, your minus is equal to, divide by is equal to, multiply is equal to, and modulus is equal to. Again, these are also the assignment operators we have, right? Now assignment operator is to get or set the values right, and while setting the values, if you want to do some operation, you can. That's your assignment. So let's see the first assignment operator in which you have seen, right? I is equal to 90, which means 90 will be assigned to I. Simple, right? Now let's go. Let me just comment these two. I'll keep them. So here, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to print I value, for example, right? So let me take I as 100, right? So now what I'm going to do, I is equal to, I'll say 200. Now what will happen? The I value will get overridden to 200. The 100 will not be, the value 100 will be no more. Now value will automatically become 200. Now let's say I'm going to say I plus is equal to 200. Now this is same as saying I is equal to I plus 200. There is no difference. As we are going to add a new number with the same variable we are actually going to assign. That's why you don't have to say I is equal to I plus 20. You can just say I plus is equal to 200 is nothing but I is equal to I plus 200. Right? So now when you run this, the value will be same. Value is 300 because I value is 100 and your next value is 200. So 100 plus 200 will give you 300. Right? That's okay. Similarly, we have minus, which means it will subtract. Right? If you want, you can see, let's say minus here, and run this program, and you can see minus 100 because 100 minus 200 will give you minus 100. Similarly, we have divide by, and we have multiplied, and percentile. Percentile again will give you the remainder value. Remainder value of your result between I and the number. That's your assignment operator. And we have the last set of operators called miscellaneous. Now in miscellaneous, we are going to see one very important one which we normally use most of the times in real time is conditional expression operator. So let us see what it is. So let me just comment this and fine. So here, let's say, first let me write a simple if condition, and then we'll see what exactly is conditional. Conditional expression is nothing but your question mark and colon. That's it. These two we are going to use to actually write something very quick and very optimized. You see that. So let's write a simple here. Let's say I want to say int x is equal to 0. What I'm going to do, if I value is equal to 100, let's say x value as, for example, something 300, else, right, x value is, let's say, some 900, for example. So when you print x here, what is the value we are going to get? I value is 100, so we're going to get 300, right? So we're going to choose the 300. Fine. Now the same complete expression we can actually write in a simple one-liner using conditional expression. Let's see how. Right. Now here you can see the beauty here is that across all these, I'm actually concentrating on assigning a value for x. That's important. Right. We may not be able to write all the if conditions directly. Right. End of the day. Right. So here I'm going to get the value of x. So here what I'll do, I'll just comment this for now, and I'll say x is equal to, what is the expression? I should be equal to 100. That's my actual expression condition. I'll say question mark. Okay, if I is equal to 100, then I'll say 300 colon 900. That's it. This is a video. Which means I'm going to take this condition. Okay, if this condition is true, question mark in the sense, okay, if this condition is true, then what? Then 300. The colon is nothing but or else part. Else your 900. So now, if you run this program, you will see the same output of 300 again. Right? Now let's move one step ahead again. Let's say I'm going to have else if I greater than some 50. Open and close bracket, let's x is 600, let's say, for example. Right? Then definitely my I value, right, is equal to 100, I'm saying, right? So let me just make not equal to 100, for example, and I'll say I greater than 50. So now definitely this block will be executed and x value will be 600. Right? Now let's try the same expression again here in a simple way. Now this is how we normally write. X is equal to, first one, I is not equal to 100. Okay, good. If I is not equal to 100, then what? Then 300 else. In else part you can see else is again starting from a condition. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to assign 900 here. So here again we're going to keep it as a block again. In this block, what we are going to do, we are going to check. Okay, again in else part, if my condition I is greater than 50, then question mark again, then return 600, otherwise 900. Simple. Right? You can know this many. How simple. So this is a main condition. If it is true, okay, return 300. Otherwise, there are multiple else. So I'll keep everything else in one block. Okay, this is the else part. Okay, now in this else part, what is it? I greater than 50. Okay, take I greater than 50, and if it is fine, then return 600. Otherwise, you have to return 900. End of the day, you can see at last you will get 900. So when you run this, click on start. You will see 600. Similarly, let's say if these two conditions fails, not equal to 100 and I should be greater than 50, right? So let's say I value is some 20, for example. So what it is going to do, I not equal to 100, this itself will trigger. So maybe I'll say something called I is equal to 100 now. Just for a change. Because I want to go and print the last else part. That's my motto. So I is equal to 100, no, pass. I greater than 50, no, it will go and else. Similarly here, I greater than I is equal to 100, no, so it will not go here, it will go here. I greater than 50, no, it will not go here, it will go here. Simple. So when I run this program, you will see the x value will be 900. So let it run the program and we will see the output of everything. One second, continue waiting. Okay. So you can see the output is 900. Right? So this output is 900 because all the conditions. Now here you can improvise the the concept again. If you have multiple else, again if conditions, we can actually go ahead with at the edge else parties. Right? So that's how we are going to actually make use of this conditional operators. Fine. So these are the operators we have in C#.